Hello again. So this video is going to be kind of tricky. We're going head first into Midsommar, which is a pretty long and painful film and discusses many topics like relationships, loneliness, possibly cults, and strange different religions. So, spoiler alerts ahead. So this is director Ari Aster's second film. I really enjoy Ari Aster. I think he is a really great director. He's pretty new on the movie scene, but he is really good. He's made two movies. His first movie was gorgeous. It was beautiful. And that's the thing, both of his movies, his first one being the critically acclaimed Hereditary and Midsommar, they're both really beautifully shot, but they're both really hard to watch. And I think that's the magic of it. That's what horror films are supposed to do. Supposed to challenge you. So this movie stars Florence Pugh, I think. I don't know how to say that name, but her name is Florence, and Jack Rayner as our troubled couple. The movie's plot goes as follows. Danny is having relationship issues with her boyfriend, Christian. Their conversations are flat and guarded. But during a phone call, Danny receives the news that her sister killed herself and their parents by gas poisoning. So, being that this is an extremely traumatic event, Danny is grief-stricken for months on end. And when she somewhat recovers, she decides to join Christian's friends to celebrate Midsommar in Sweden, in the community where one of their friends grew up. The people they meet there seem strange and different, and a few of the boys decide to use the community as a thesis for their college assignments. This ultimately, however, leads to their deaths as they mock and disregard the townspeople's beliefs and lifestyle. At one point, they watch a sacrifice, and after seeing a sacrifice, they didn't know it was going to be a sacrifice, by the way. They didn't know what was happening. They just got brought up there, and when they saw someone be killed, they started freaking out, ultimately. And they decided that it was too dangerous to stay there. They can't leave, however, and Danny and Christian are drugged and continue celebrating the last part of this midsummer tradition. So they're at this weird state, like they're not really fully conscious at the moment. They're sort of just kind of being pulled around from place to place. So they're still celebrating the event, which is Midsommar. That's why they're there in Sweden, because what's happening is Midsommar. And Danny participates in their events, and they crown her the May Queen because she won the event. Christian wasn't so lucky, however, as he is paralyzed, shoved inside of a dead bear, and burned alive in a religious sacrifice, the ultimate end to their midsummer tradition. This movie ends with Danny crying as she watches the building go up in flames, holding her paralyzed boyfriend shoved inside of a dead bear. But her crying eventually turns to laughter. So obviously this movie is very confusing. There's a lot of visuals, especially, that are extremely off-putting and strange and weird. I didn't talk about it, but there's also like a sexual scene, because they believe they're like the reproductive way they hold up their society is completely different from ours, and it's completely, to us, it's completely out of whack, but it makes sense to them. But one of the big meanings, I think, is that other cultures may seem weird and extreme, but it's important to show respect and to see it from their perspective. Because like the reason why the other guys died was because like there was like they have like a temple and they've got like a sacred book in there, but they just keep like prying and trying to get into all of their information just to access it for themselves, and they're mocking everyone the whole time they're there. And that's showing how modern society has a tendency to disregard new things or new ways of life because it's strange or weird, and they don't understand it. However, the civilization does seem really cultish. They do have sacrifices and kill tourists. Ari Aster, though, the director, states that acceptance is an important part of his film. This movie, according to him, is not a movie about crazy cults. So another big message pertains to Aster's personal life. So Aster was having a tough time with romantic relationships, and he decided to express his emotional issues through his outlet of choice, which happens to be horror films. I can relate to that. And so, Danny and Christian in the movie, they struggle with communication. And their conversations are strained, and they don't express how they really feel to each other, The main issue in the relationship is the lack of support that Danny gets from Christian. He doesn't seem to fully understand or sympathize with Danny's issues, and this leads to Danny feeling consistently isolated and that her feelings are invalid. So Aster wanted to overall spook people, but he also wanted to make them aware that it's important to be respectful to people and to the differences within them. Acceptance and attentiveness to others and their emotions is key in Aster's eyes. That's what he wants people to take away. It's hard not to take away the other stuff that's happening, though. Like, he's really good. I like his style, but it's just so the scary visuals he make are just, they're really hard to watch, I mean, he's got really like little things too. Like, in some of the scenes when they've got flowers around them, you can see that the middle part of the flowers, and they never draw attention to it, but the middle parts of the flowers are expanding and like getting smaller, and that's really gross to me. It's horrific. I hate it, but I hate it in a good way. I hate it in the way of like, that's really cool that you would put that in there and be so nonchalant about it, but at the same time, ew, gross, get it away from me, please. So I might as well tell you the fun facts. So Ari Aster knew that people would come in expecting and hoping to watch people die, because it's a horror film. But he thought that because it's an expectation, therefore it makes it boring. So all the deaths are off screen. All of the interest, he doesn't show, whenever anyone dies, he pans away. He doesn't actually show anything, which is his way of diverting people's expectations and spicing it up and making it really, really interesting. So I suggest watching it. If you have a strong stomach, watch it. Don't watch it when you're eating. But if you really feel like it, watch it. If you're disturbed easily, don't watch his movie. Don't watch anything by Ari Aster. As much as I loved Midsommar, I can't imagine that I would watch it over and over and over again like I did The Shining, just because it would be pretty painful, I think, to do that. They're really good, but they're really hard to watch. So, thank you again for watching my video on Midsommar. So, like, only watch this if you can handle disturbing imagery and things that make you uneasy. I'm not sure I'll ever watch it again, but we are, this next video, so this one was supposed to be like in modern time, but the next video we'll be looking at, however, is taking us all the way back to the beginning of the internet. So we're going to be watching the movie Blair Witch Project. Thanks for watching.